Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about the newest chapter interlude teaser, The God's Limit. I want to share with you some of the things I've noticed. There's quite a lot to unpack. The teaser starts with an old woman reading from a book about the history of the world under a tree. Her voice sounds similar to Anya Anders' daughter. She begins to speak about the four principles of life in this world. As she does, we are introduced to the four shades of the heavenly principles, finally getting a glimpse of them for the first time. Their design is stunning. Now, it is confirmed that the unknown god is indeed Asmodee, as it has been speculated, and that she is the Shade of Space. But as soon as she speaks of her, she seems to have a vision about what happened when the traveler arrived and how they were ruthlessly torn apart. Ronova makes her entrance, and by God she is stunning. Out of the four of them, I like her design the most. Ronova is the shade of death, and her appearance evokes that of a seraphim. Also, I couldn't help but notice that she looks exactly like the statue of the omnipresent god in Inazuma. Her wings specifically. It does make sense since death is always present, no matter what. It makes me think as to why Raiden decided to place the visions on the wings of the statue of the Shade of Death. If the visions are the eyes of God, was that her subtle way of making the gods look in the mirror perhaps? She is about to scold Rhine-daughter for littering the space with her so-called bizarre creations. Rhine-daughter is also known by her title Gold and by her Hexen Circle codename R. She is a researcher and one of the 5 sinners of Khaenri'ah. She is a practitioner of the art of Kemia and is best known for her masterpieces Durin and Albedo. She has become one with Niberius, one of the 4 shades, after devouring her. Niberius is the shade of life and the one who created Egeria, the first Hydro Archon. It looks like she's exercising her new powers of creation, perhaps trying to recreate Anya, her dearest but mortal friend. Anya M. Anders' daughter, also known by her codename M, was a member of the Hexen Circle. She was the author of the renowned storybook The Boar Princess and was said to be an exceptional writer. Rhine-daughter then proceeds to take what is left of the old woman from the ground. Perhaps those are Anya's memories or what is left of her soul. But unfortunately, her little experiment fails as we learn that all life in that space was rendered unstable and tainted by the ruler of space. By the looks of it, it seems she has tried this little experiment before, enough for her to know that repeating it would be in vain. Although she has devoured Niberius, she seems to still be present, nagging Rhine-daughter for how she uses her power. Then we are introduced to Istaroth, also known as Tokoyo Okami, and Kairos, who is the ruler of time among the 4 shades of the heavenly principles. She has been worshipped in Mondstadt and Enkanomiya both before and currently with the rites of the 7. However, the worship of Istaroth or even the knowledge of her existence has been all but forgotten in Teyvat. Though her legacy has been subtly preserved through the phrases related to the winds of time, the Enkanomians continue to worship her after their island sank beneath the surface world, seeing her as the only one who had not forsaken them. In her design, we see the representation of a clock similar to that in the Paimon menu, but those little circles above her head also make me think of the Offinen. Ronova asked her, why did she bestow history upon them? I found myself asking, who is them? Are they the people to whom the old lady was reading? Are they the people of Enkanomiya who worshipped, or simply the people of Teyvat? Or are they the traveler and the sibling? After all, she sort of gave them the history of what truly happened during the Cataclysm, 500 years ago in the latest quest. To that question, she simply replied, I had to find some way to make the time pass, did I not? It seems they are looking for Asmodee, the ruler of space, whom we meet at the start of the game. It seems she is missing and they are all looking for her. As Ronova destroys the space in which they are, I find it interesting how we can only see that single tree. It seems that it is the only thing remaining in that space. Perhaps that was the air missile of that space, or at least a representation of it. Now, what I find even more interesting is this image of the cubes right here. We know that Asmodee can compress space in her cubes, and I've been thinking that the entirety of Teyvat is one of her cubes. Now, what I'm wondering is if those cubes are all timelines of Teyvat, all the different parallel outcomes of the samsaras that keep repeating. Maybe this too is an experiment. Once it is done, if the outcome isn't the one expected, then everything is destroyed, leaving the space uninhabitable and unusable. It also seems like Ronova is the one in charge of the cleaning, so to speak, as the others just tag along. The next image, with all three of them in the meeting space, is highly reminiscent of the platform with the three witch statues in Simulanka. The three of them express their concern about Asmodee's whereabouts, since apparently this is the first time one of them is missing from this type of meetings, which seem to be happening regularly. Isteros implies that maybe she switched sides, which seems to make Ronova uncomfortable, as it is an unthinkable act for a shade of the heavenly principles. Out of all four of them, it seems like Asmodee and Ronova are the strictest of them, applying the rules more harshly. So then where is Asmodee, and how come they don't know? Ronova then says something that sent me into a spiral. She said that the only reason she would do that is if she loved her new master more than she loved herself. Which new master? Who is she talking about? The only one I could think about is one of the siblings. Either she sided with the Abyss sibling, which we don't have much proof of, or she sided with the Traveler. How? Through Paimon. Now hear me out. I know she doesn't look exactly like Paimon, but the resemblances are there. And we know Hoyo likes to hide things in plain sight. Remember Canotilla? Remember what she said about Paimon? She described Paimon as a rainbow balloon floating in the air, and her string seems to extend upwards to somewhere above the sky. Now, what I'm thinking, and this is my opinion, is that either Asmodee split herself in two, much like Focalor, or she made a puppet that she named Paimon. In Jewish and Christian mythology and demonology, Asmodee is predominantly known as Asmodeus, and is often depicted as a powerful demon or even a king of demons, which fits since the shades are above the archons. He is associated with lust, destruction, and the breaking of marriages. In some texts, he is also portrayed as a figure involved in the construction of Solomon's temple. Now, our Asmodee didn't break any marriages per se, but she did separate the travelers, and given how space tainted by her is unusable for withholding life, I'd say the distraction category fits her well. Now, we don't know if the shades can change their demon names, but they can surely name other things, such as a puppet or a part of themselves. Paimon is a powerful demon described as one of the kings of hell, known for his obedience to Lucifer and his command over legions of demons. He is a prominent figure in demonology, particularly within the context of the Ars Goetia and the Lesser Key of Solomon. In-game, our Lucifer will be the Traveler, who has none other than Paimon as their most loyal companion. Paimon is said to possess knowledge in philosophy and science, can resurrect the dead, and has control over water, earth, and air. He can teach all arts and sciences, reveal secrets of the earth, and impart knowledge about the mind. Our Paimon might not seem like the brightest little cookie, but she is the one who guided the traveler. She has knowledge of the elements and magic in the world of Teyvat and seems to know a lot of secrets. Perhaps Asmodee wanted to keep a close eye on the traveler, maybe guide them in the direction she wanted, so her experiment will finally succeed. Or perhaps she was just curious to see how the traveler is going to uncover the world and what decision they would make. Inevitably, she became attached, and we've seen with many entities before, such as the Archons and their people, New Villette and the humans, or maybe she's having too much fun misguiding the traveler, who knows? Also, I find interesting how Paimon is never with us when we meet our siblings. Perhaps because the time we meet our siblings are in their memory or Caribert's consciousness, both places where the shades cannot see, hidden corners of the world, as Barbeloth will say. But we do see Asmodee peeking at them in the space created by her and Isteroth in the quest of Space and Time for You, where Paimon is again left out, but Asmodee isn't. So the puppet Paimon cannot see, but the Shade herself can. As they discuss Asmodee's possible betrayal, Isteroth tells Ronova that she is being watched. Who is watching? None other than the myth, the man, the legend, Piero, the director of the Fatui Harbingers.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
The hatred in his eyes is palpable, enough to send chills down someone's spine. Imagine having the nerve to stare like that at the god. Remembers the little staring contest from 500 years ago, when she placed the curse of immortality on the people of Kandria. As everything is destroyed around him, he is locked in on one thing alone, Ronova. He doesn't even blink. What are they feeding these Kandrians? Rhine-daughter admits that she remembers him, that they are acquainted, and that she believes that perhaps working with the Tsaritsa may have quelled his fury and obsession. Sarcastically, of course. Also a way to snitch on them, Rhine-daughter. Ronova doesn't seem to be phased, however. Just goes to show how truly insignificant the Archons actually are for the Shades, whereas for humans they are larger than life. After Rhine-daughter makes a smug little comment about how she too would take the opportunity to strike while the heavenly principles are asleep, like the Tsaritsa, and getting scolded by Niberius again, Ronova decides that out of a lack of direct order they should intervene to the extent permitted by the rules. Now I'm not quite sure if this happened before the quest A Time and Space for You or after. If it's after the quest, then I'm afraid to see what their intervention entails. Down in Teyvat, Piero has a little monologue about how people perceive the gaze of the gods as a blessing, yet the gaze of the gods bring nothing but wrath and retribution. For him, the prospect of lost lives and another nation brought to ruins isn't something he fears. After all, he survived that once. His goal is higher now. He wonders how much they will have to pay for the life of a god. But which one? Does he intend to kill Ronova, getting revenge on her for the destruction of his nation and the curse his people must endure? Or is he aiming even higher at the heavenly principles? But he then says that the god remains silent, as if the thought never even crossed his mind. This only proves the Kandrians' belief that the gods are arrogant, not even considering them as a threat. Should the gods consider them as a threat, when even the Archons seem to mean nothing to the Shades? But as the Tsaritsa said, even the gods have limits. With the heavenly principles injured, and with the Gnosis combined, perhaps they do stand a chance. Who knows, maybe they will imbue the Traveler with that power, manipulate them like they did with the Abyss sibling back in Kandria 500 years ago. Oh, and the Danzelette is lost in Notcry, which sounds funny to me, but I'm sure it will be anything but funny. But that is it for me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is Paimon the little avatar of Asmodee? Will Asmodee side with the Traveler in the end? Until next time, take care, bye bye!